Shut that. Hey everybody, welcome to the Growing with Fishes podcast, episode 186. This week we have Jared Panks. Thanks for joining us.
What's up, man? Thank you for having us.
Yeah, super excited to have you on. We also have Marty.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Man, that's going to be hard to interpret for both you guys, and I can't even see where you're at.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just going to interpret the really important parts. Cool. Otherwise,
Sure,
that's going to be okay.
No,
cool.
No worries. So, and I'm Steve. So, why don't you tell us about yourself and what you do?
Well, I'm just a simple man, and I do many things. Primarily, I work with our deaf community here in Southern Oregon. We have a regenerative farm that we've built with our deaf community here. And with that, over the last 13 years, we have the understanding that is needed for us to start developing the language behind cannabis and regenerative farming.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your work in developing the sign language for the cannabis and the cannabis industry, and how that's been a challenge, or how that's been for you as an experience?
For me, it's definitely been an experience. Going to different conferences, just everything's so different in the industry, you know what I mean? When you start talking about extractions, and then you start talking about fermentations, and then you can start talking about resin heads and trichromes. You're talking about pollinating. You're talking about the different words of the cannabis industry, such as sativa, indica, hybrid, ruderalis, and why those are important to develop those signs. And I mean, language is the development and building blocks to make everything and all things possible. So if we don't have that in our cannabis industry, then where do our deaf community actually fit in? And so it started off with, okay, how could we interpret what medicine is to them in their language? Like, what is the medicinal values of cannabis, and how it could help you? It's just kind of evolved over time. And the more conferences that we go to, the more we learn, the more we understand that it's time that we have one language, and based around science, regenerative farming, and cannabis. It's important.
I thought it was interesting when we met a few weeks ago for coffee. We were talking about it, and just the realization of all the spelling that you would have to do in a normal conversation, if you don't have signs already interpreted or set up for words. It makes conversation much slower and harder to develop. So I can definitely see the value in what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you. On a big scale, we really want to be able to send this language all over the world. And for one time in the history of the planet, we can have one word for cannabis. We can have one world language. Now, everyone's always saying one world, one tribe, one love, one language. That's true expression of love in the end, is if you have the ability to communicate with the man that's next to you. We were talking earlier, Steve, about you learning different languages over there in Africa. And that's important to be able to build those relationships, but be able to do that in sign language. You can go anywhere in the world and still have conversations with people in the cannabis industry or people that medicate. And that's pretty cool. It takes it to a whole new level.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And do you want to talk about some of the opportunities that people can have in the cannabis industry for those that compared to some of the other job opportunities that they would have?
Well, being deaf, there's lots of benefits to it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a good thing, and I don't wish it on anyone. But I don't view them as impaired. And they can live a life. They can communicate to a degree, depending on the people that they're around. You know, um, but when's the last time you saw somebody that was deaf that was pumping gas? That's the easy job. Why not? Working at fast food, where you just don't see it, and over 5% of the world is deaf. That's 5 people out of every 100. That's crazy. There's more than we actually think about, and we don't see them anywhere. And why is that? And in the garden, it's the perfect place to be if you can. If you
sure.
can be at your own home, building your own garden, growing fruit, vegetables, food for yourself. That's something you can do.
For sure. Or even maybe like, trimming, for instance, something that once you learn it, it's pretty much the same. Here's your toe, trim it up, and, you're done. So it doesn't require a lot of communication. And that seems to be like where I would think the barrier is, right? Like where it'd be tough to pump someone's gas when you can't communicate with them to verify whatever it is that they want.
Well, it's just having clear instructions.
Yeah.
What it is that you're looking for. Working with our deaf community here, I've noticed that they're really good at details. When they're trimming out the bud, and if you see any mold or whatever, they see it. One of
For
our
sure.
girls, she's all so, and from my experience from growing, usually you have one seed in a plant. Regardless, if it goes to full term, you're probably going to find one lineage seed. You know what I mean? But there's this one girl, she always can find it. And I'll look and look and look and look and look and look and look. And I can't find it. And she just sits down for 10 minutes and bam. It's like, that's good. Yeah, even with mold, people hand my wife buds, and they went through it and they didn't see any mold and they trimmed it all up and then they handed it out. My wife just looks at it. She's like, ugh. Like, acts like she puts it in her back pocket and just drop it. Like, oh, I stepped on it. Like, no. I know, right?
That's funny.
But they're really good at details. When we're in Las Vegas at MJ Biz conference, we went to Mobius. They have this new trimmer that's out, and they're doing a demo. And we walked in, and we got the camera guy, and he's doing his work. And they start talking, and they're talking about this machine. And then they started it, and it sounded like a turbine engine. Like, it was really loud, and everyone's yelling over the machine for the demo. And I was thinking, this is perfect. Like, perfect. Deaf community, come on in. You could do that job. Like, oh, you can't hear. Everyone has to scream at each other. You don't have to yell at all. You just look.
Right. Especially a team of people, right? Like if you got 4 people, they communicate across the room like nothing because the sound doesn't affect their communication.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Austin,
finding
Texas.
The advantages. That's awesome.
Yeah, I went to Austin, Texas probably 12 years ago to go see one of my friends. And Austin, there's a big deaf school there, and a pretty big deaf community. And I went into this bar, and there was a bunch of people, and there's a huge line of people to get to the bar. And I got eye contact with one of the bartenders, and I signed to her. I said, "Black beer." And by the time I worked my way all the way through the crowd of people, as soon as I showed up, there was my beer ready for me. Like,
That's awesome.
This is the quietest and the loudest language you'll ever speak. All you have to do is be able to see somebody. Like in a crowd of people, if I lose my wife, I just throw up the "I love you" sign, just as high as I can go. And if she can see that, well, now she knows where I'm at.
Right.
So there's lots. There are good benefits from it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, there's a lot of good that can come from sign language. Not being deaf, but they've kind of given us the way. They've given us the answer without people asking the right question.
Very cool. Hey, speaking of very cool stuff, do you want to talk a little bit about the Kevin Smith and Jay and Silent Bob little shout out you guys had? I saw you post the video the other day.
Yeah, that was really cool. I got to meet Kevin a few times now. And when I met him for the first time in Las Vegas 2 years ago, he's like, that's really cool what you guys are doing. He's like, I want to think about how to figure out a way to get you guys in the next movie. And for me, I was a big fan of Mallrats and Clerks growing up, and the Chasing Amy, Dogma. I love that he has the same characters in his movies.
Yeah,
because it's kind of like reading a comic book, right?
For sure.
If you got the League of Justice, who's in the League of Justice? So to me, I really like that. And he's able to play off of really important things that kind of impacted his life. And he's like, I'm going to find a way. And then I saw him again at the Emerald Cup a little bit later after that. And we talked a little bit more. And he's like, I'm going to put your logo in the movie, or I'm working on it. He's like, but
that's so cool.
Say a whole lot. He's like, write me down some notes and just give me some ideas and send it on over, and I'll see what I can do.
And it came out so cool. It came out really cool, I have to say. I watched just a little clip of it. So if you guys haven't checked it out, definitely go check it out.
Well, it's really funny because from that script that I had written, he actually used a lot of ideas. So, and I can see how it's going to play out in the future of being able to work together on more things and saying a lot more sign language, and actually a story about our farm in one of his movies.
Wow.
So that's
so awesome.
That's cool. Just to be a kid that just watched him all the time, and like, who am I?
Yeah. And now Jay's talking about you in the movie, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that'd be mind-blowing for me.
Yeah, we last time he was here in Oregon, we went up to go meet him in Eugene, and we had a viewing of the movie, and he didn't tell us about that part. So he wanted us to be surprised. And I was sitting up there on stage, and I'm interpreting, and I interpret that part, and I just, my whole head just blew up because I saw how he put us in the story. And if you haven't watched the movie, you'll see.
It's really cool. It's very, it's not like a big talking point or anything. It's very subtle the way I put it in, but it still is directly talking about you guys. It was really well done, I thought. So
and they're now out of Snoochie Boochies, so they have to look for more. And
there you go.
How can you? I think the strain was unicorn. Unicorn. So now they have to find something better than a unicorn.
There you go.
And this deaf girl that grew up on a farm in Southern Oregon. It's a road trip. It'll
Awesome.
be cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
That sounds
Heard
awesome.
it here first.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see it. We'll see it happening. But it's a way just to be able to promote what we're trying to do. One world, one love, one tribe, one language, and doing that because, I mean, if you can teach a kid to be able to communicate at 6 months old, and you can give them that language for when they're dying in the hospital, or they have their jaw removed, or they got a trach, or whatever it is, you can still communicate. You still have value. Um, you can still participate in the world, and that's priceless gift, if you ask me.
Absolutely. Speaking of films, you're working on a documentary, aren't you?
Yeah. We've got our own little documentary that we've started to do called Defining Cannabis. But it's just basically talking about our life story, and like where we came from. Why is this so important to us? Why do we know sign language? Who we've been working with, their deaf community, why that's so unique, and coming up with a new language with our deaf community. Like, when's the last language that's been developed? And then it talks a little bit about our deaf history and where that came from, and why is there all these different ABCs? This is different ways to spell. It just makes it harder, more barriers to be able to communicate. So it's really important to do contextual sign language and talking about that and showing people how to build a regenerative farm from scratch. We got 60 acres that got burnt off in a big fire. 70% mortality of the trees that are out there. I used to be a firefighter back in the day, and paramedic, and I'm going to fix that land. I'm going to use my skills and put it to test. Do that with a bunch of deaf people and show them how to do it from home. Yeah, I'd say that's cool, and that's something that I want to document for myself. Even if no one watches it, for me, I think it's important enough to do it.
I think that's really cool too, because there's a lot of kids out there that want to learn about gardening, want to learn about regenerative practices, and it doesn't necessarily have to be growing cannabis. Showing those farming techniques applies to all different types of crops and can open a whole world of different things, especially for people just coming and graduating.
Yeah. No, this is your best investments, in my opinion, is land and water. If you have those two things, you're starting to do pretty good in life. I don't think you need a car as much as you need land and water.
So what are some of the different aspects that you've filmed so far for your documentary, or maybe some stuff you want to highlights, maybe you want to touch on?
Well, we have that interview with Kevin Smith or Silent Bob. We have interviews with Steve D'Angelo, the godfather of legal cannabis in California. So that's really cool. We have interviews with the CEO of MJ Biz magazine. We talk with people from Cincy magazine. We talk to cowboy football players, David Irving. There's lots of stuff there. We've talked to a lot of different people, and we've shot these interviews over this time. It's really cool. You get to see different sign languages in different parts of the world. So it'll be interesting to be able to see it all play out, and then see what the story of our lives and what our community is about. So we've been asking people 3 questions, and one of the questions is, define cannabis to you using 3 contextual words. And then we teach them that in sign language, and they do it for the video, and to be able to see all these people and what their opinion is. Oh, yeah, 3 words. So make it important. And I think it'll be really good. It'll open up a lot of people's eyes to see it from a different perspective. And for the first time, we can control our own narrative and not just what the media wants to say or what they want to share. Because there's a lot of really good things out in this cannabis industry. There's a lot of really good people, and those are the OGs. These are the people that brought it from this point to this point, and we're saying that they're all bad and they need to be locked up and they're criminals, and it's a bunch of bullshit.
That's really
For sure.
awesome. Oh, go ahead, Marty.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say we had a question from chat. Somebody was asking if you have your own YouTube channel where they can check out your own videos.
Yeah, we actually do. We just started it. We've been building content for the last 2 years, and unfortunately, we had our computers stolen, both, and that's our bad. But both computers stolen from us at a High Times Cup, so we had to start over, and that's fine. You know, I look back, and that's just practice. But we have all the stuff that's been videoed, and we're cutting it up right now so we can put it up on our YouTube channel.
And what is your YouTube channel?
Homegrown ORX.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And
and
throw up a link to it.
yeah, our old school name is Homegrown Oregon ICX. So you can find it either and or. I mean, we have a couple videos back then.
Cool.
Thank you for the question.
What are some of the other things that you guys have been working on? I know you guys have been traveling and doing all kinds of fun things lately.
Just working, you know, my happiest place is going out and working in the farm and being in the garden. So yesterday was the first time I've been able to set foot in it really for the last 2 weeks. And I went out and I got a bunch of wood chips and started doing that. And then as soon as it gets dark, you know, I'm working on schedule. I'm writing out some scripts. We're going down to LA and we're gonna do some videos with Tommy Chong. So, you know, trying to write those scripts for that. You want to come in? My wife has arrived.
I thought I saw her poke her head in.
Yeah. She says, sorry. I've been very sick this last week, so I'm finally coming back to life.
Well, I hope you feel better soon. And thanks for getting up at all.
She says, thank you for having us and for helping get the word out to your community.
For sure.
Yeah, most definitely, you guys.
Anytime.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love helping share the good word with you, all the awesome work you guys are doing.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have the chat open, but on YouTube, there's a lot of people talking about how cool it is.
No, I don't have it open right now. I wish I did. I just had it on my phone. So I could
That's all right. We'll
plug
make
in.
sure and relay any questions we get, like the YouTube one.
So actually, Steve, let's talk about hydroponics and aquaponics. You remember that from last year?
Yeah, yeah. We have a
Yeah.
whole video on your channel, I believe it is on is it homegrown RX? Oh,
1 second.
okay.
He was asking where to find that. She says, we developed that sign language with you, and so hydroponics and the aquaponics. She says we've had people that have been trying to look up that word, and that's what they find for that video. That's the only video that's out there for those words. And the deaf people that are trying to look it up too, you know, and they find the videos that we're doing. She says that's pretty cool. The funny thing is deaf people think that deaf people thought that she was hearing. She's not deaf, and they're all watching the videos in detail, really close. She said, "Oh, she's not deaf. She's not deaf."
That's funny.
That's funny. Well, you never know until you meet her. Like, there was a lot of people in town that had no idea she was deaf. She just
well,
quiet.
I didn't know until I met her the first time when I came over to your guys' house, and so it definitely took me back. Because we'd only talked via text at that point.
Yeah, I know, right? You know, a lot of people don't. It's funny because our cameraman, he owns a store just right down here on the corner off New Hope Market, and we were talking about my wife, and he's like, you know, for the longest time, I thought your wife was really rude. And I was like, why is that? And he's like, because she would never answer any of my questions. So I'd ask her how her day is, and he's just trying to start a conversation with her, and he had no idea. And it wasn't until a few months later that, okay, I understand now. You know, and there's more people like that. I mean, you have people that holler at her or whatever, and you're just like, you're not screaming loud enough.
Yeah, you
Try
can't.
harder.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. Good luck with that. But
yeah, people come over to the house and they'll see me jumping up and down, and they think that I'm throwing a baby tantrum. And the truth is, I'm just trying to call for my wife. You know, you make the house shake, and she'll know someone's looking for her.
That's awesome.
It's a different life for sure.
Still a great one though.
I think it's on a future cannabis project, if memory serves me right, that video.
Yeah, it was.
Took
Man,
me a minute to remember.
Yeah, you know, that was the first time that we were asked to do that on camera, and that was a whole different experience for ourselves, because I mean, we were just starting to really working on that language development at that time, and we had our own little language, you know, a few things around here on the farm, but like really getting into the science of it. So that was a really unique challenge for us to be able to do those videos. And it was like, oh, we got to figure out what we need to do in the first place, like how to be able to communicate, how to do interviews. She says, and the words for all the development. She says it's ongoing project for sure, but all the spelling that's involved. He says in regenerative organic conference, the science and regenerative conference this last week. She says, you know, we picked up a lot more words. Yeah, we had our team of 3 deaf girls sitting up front, and I'd be interpreting, and I'd be like, write that one down. You know, write that one down. This is important enough, like taking it to the next level. So it's like we're just trying to peel it off in layers as we're going.
Like a whole nother way of taking notes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because now you really got to do some research into it to come up with. It's kind of like Latin, you know, as you break down the words, doing that, but in sign language. So it takes a little bit of research and a lot of thought, but having that list made out is important, because that's what's going to take us to the next level. You know, so how do we talk about fermentation if we don't have a sign for fermentation? And
Right.
then as soon as you do, it has to represent what it is. So, I mean, you have it breaking down, and then you have it bubbling up. So trying to explain that.
Very cool. You guys want to talk about your farm a little bit? You started to talk about the regenerative conference, and you want to talk about what you guys do at the farm, what type of farm you guys have, or how are you guys thinking about incorporating aquaponics?
Yes, most definitely the aquaponics part, but we'll get back to that in a minute. All right.
Sure.
You want to talk a little bit about our farming practices? She says we built our dirt from scratch. We've been growing for the last 13 years. Everything that we use is all organic, from the earth. She says, and you give it a lot of love. She says, in nature. So you can't really beat that. So I really want to try aquaponics. So that's my goal one day, is to be able to do that. She said that'll be an amazing experience.
Well, we can do that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Well, we just bought that 60 acres on it.
Yeah.
And there's a creek that runs through it. So, and fish actually come up that creek. It's right off the Rogue River. So that's something that I want to do. That's something actually that I wanted to do since I was 16 in high school.
That's awesome.
It's been on my list for a long time. I just never thought it would happen, being a firefighter and all.
Yeah. So it's an amazing opportunity for sure to be able to kind of rewild after a fire like that.
Yeah. She says lots of biochar. Yeah, lots of biochar. And I'd say 2/3 of it is oak and madrone, which is exactly what you want for biochar if you have the pick of the litter, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And then I've got some fir and a little bit of pine, but we're gonna go and lop that all down and build it, chip it, build it. It'll be fun. I can't wait to be able to share it with you guys.
And are you guys going to be shooting videos for that on your YouTube also? We saw a couple people asking about it. So will you guys be updating that?
We're going to be doing little promos. So, we have that one out with Steve D'Angelo. No, sorry. Anyways, we have that promo out with Steve D'Angelo. We're going to be putting out a couple more. We just got one done that talks a little bit about our story, about how my wife and I had met for the first time and the time away, because we met and then I went off to college and she got married, and there were 16 years in between time where I actually learned sign language, and her life was totally different and my life was totally different. How God kind of pushed us together. We want to be able to share that. Now they'll be coming out here really soon. We have another one for the Emerald Cup series and the MJ business coming out. So it's a lot of editing and doing the sign language for it. So we just ended up buying a green screen and all the lights, and we got a studio in Grants Pass, so we can do all that and make it look professional and have it done nice. Like we want it to look good, and we want people to be able to stay tuned and be engaged and learn.
All right. Well, it's important with sign language to be able to see, right? So sometimes lighting can be difficult in the field for sure. Or camera angles. Yeah.
It's not just that, but with the green screen and being able to see my hands, and then just trying to learn how to play around with that, shutter speeds and sign language with the green screen, and how there's lots of editing to do. So there's a big learning curve. People ask me, what do I do? I do many things. I'm always learning, doing something new to push that a little bit more. But yeah, you'll be seeing it soon. Check us out on Instagram. That's where we're at right now, honestly.
Oh, cool. What's
little things here and there. A homegrown. ORX.
ORX.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
we're on Facebook, but we don't really share a whole lot on Facebook just because of how they censor us.
Yeah,
It just
it's
makes it
unfortunate,
harder.
for sure. We've all
Mhm.
been in jail, I'm sure.
I've been lucky that I have not been, but I'm not taking any chances. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people were getting shut down because they were sharing information that looked like cells. And for us, we're just sharing pictures, playing around with cameras. You know, our test results, we'll throw it up there and we can show you what the THC came out of, and we can show you the terpenes, and the different lists of what it's high in. And, you know, I can share that on my own way.
Cool. So do you guys do all outdoor out there?
That's what I like. That's what I want to do, and that's what I prefer. When you start thinking about your footprint, your carbon footprint, indoor, there's a lot of risk in that as well,
Sure.
depending on where you're at. But we're on the tip of the triangle. Why not use what God has given us? You know, I don't need to have a big indoor facility to be good. What I need is good living soil and really strong sunlight and the perfect big weather. You know, it's the climate. That's actually our town's logo. It's the climate.
Yeah.
You
for sure.
when you drive down through 6th Street, there's a big banner that says it, and it's true.
And it's been there for a long time too.
Yeah.
That's not a new thing. That's for sure.
No, this is the best little kept secret. Everyone wanted to go to Humboldt and Mendo and Trinity counties to grow, you know, be in the triangle, but I'd say Oregon's got the best of it. That's my opinion. You guys there?
Yep. I was just taking a
Okay.
hit, so I was on mute.
No, you guys are good. I gotta go here soon. I think
Sure.
my phone's gonna die.
No
Or
worries.
actually, can you grab the phone charger? Got it.
Do you wanna
Multitasking.
recap everybody how they can find out more about you and what you do, and how they can learn more or follow your work?
Yeah, come check us out. Instagram and on Facebook. We're Homegrown ORX. And you'll be seeing more of us, a lot more here soon. We'll be in
Awesome.
dispensaries all over. So just give it a minute. Let me get all this stuff cut up, edited. It's a process, man. I don't know if y'all have learned that yet, but I'm just now.
Oh yeah, I've been hosting the show for 3 years, and it's quite a bit of work. And I still want to go back through and take each episode and maybe grab a couple of clips out of each one, but I never end
Okay.
up with time at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It always sounds like a good idea, and then
Yeah.
it just never happens. So
Do you want to talk about you're doing something cool with glass blowers, and you guys have some cool stuff going on now in that direction as well? Do you want to talk about that?
I'll talk about it, but let me show it to you first. I'm gonna start small and then work my way up. So here's a little blunt chum that we got blown. So I know this cat that blows some glass, and he was having a hard time, and he does this with 24 karat gold. I've never seen it done before with gold. You know, it's really, really difficult to do. And seeing this, I was like, man, like that's really cool. You want to make some pipes for us and our brand? We're gonna start raffling them off. Like we'll put them in dispensaries and we can raffle these beautiful pieces off. You can see some of the spirals in there. This one's even better right here. So we're gonna make some custom pieces that we kind of inspired him to do. We kind of just gave him a guideline of what it is that we're looking for. Sorry, my wife's trying to plug stuff in. But here's another beautiful piece that he did. And the gold, how it reflects off of the lavender colors in there when it hits it. And then you look inside the bowl and it's got all those rings.
it's like iridescent.
Dude, it's just beautiful. Lots of different colors to it as well. Like the reds. That's
That's
beautiful.
cool.
And then you can see it on the green. Personally, I really like the green and the lavender colors and how it reflects. But we're gonna have some custom pieces made up. She says, and it hits really smooth too. She says it's nice. Let me show them that one. Check that piece out. And there's definitely some weight in there, and there's some
That's
gold.
awesome.
Now, these ones here, those ones, they go for $400. But it's the gold that's the value. That's the one thing that, okay, I broke my pipe, but I didn't lose its value. I need to go put it in the safe somewhere. You take it down to the pawn store and hawk it for gold value. That's an investment. A lot of people, they'll go out and spend $100 on glass, and then they don't get nothing out of it when it breaks. Here, it's gold. It's a soft metal, and it's going to help protect it. So if it falls, and it's thick too, that helps too. She says, I really like that one. She says we'd smoke around with people, and it's nice because it's something that you can just put the joint or blunt into, and then you just cup it in your hands. So this way you're not sucking on everybody's pipe. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Those are really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, these ones here, they go for 120, the big old spoons. But I mean, you can see that that's a deal. When you start talking about price of gold, it just went up to 1,600 an ounce. So it's a good investment if you ask me. And I don't think you're gonna go wrong with something like that. And that's what we bring to the table. It's something of value that you just can't find anywhere. And we went down and we were talking with Darby Holmes. He's an amazing glass blower. I mean, this is beautiful, but you just wait until you see it with some of Darby's glass. Like, oh my God, it's going to be off the wall, out of my mind. I was watching him do his work, and he's got these four different stations. It's all set up, and like he's making his own rods. Just, wow. And what I was looking at, he was making this scorpion on this bong. I was just like, how do you do that? And the guy's good. Very, very talented. So we can't wait to be working with him. We're going to have these things out in dispensaries here soon. You can buy them on our Instagram. Connect us that way if you're interested. And, be looking out for the videos of us making this stuff. It's coming soon.
We have people in chat.
She says you can look up the glass blower. He's on 432 Glass is his Instagram handle. And look up Darby Holmes too. DARBYHOLMS. Yeah. Just see what we're talking about.
We have people in chat asking how they can buy them.
How they can buy it. Hook me up on Instagram. Hit me up. Come check it out. All the money that comes from this helps us develop this language. It helps us make the videos, and it helps us make the farm happen. Without all three of those things, this dream doesn't happen. And for one world language, it needs to happen, especially your regenerative farming and cannabis medicine.
Did you guys, I know you guys went to the regenerative conference you mentioned. Did you guys swap some seeds? I know, especially for outdoor breeders, that's
She says, oh yeah. She said that's her favorite part of it. Every year when we go,
that's
get a seed
everyone's
swap.
favorite part.
She says you're just sharing amazing genetics with people that are grown with love. It's not about money, and it's regeneratively grown.
Very cool.
So
I know you guys had some. Sorry, go ahead. I think you're going to talk about what I'm about to ask you. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, last year we went to it and we did the seed swap, and we took those seeds that people gave us and we grew out the plants here, and we did our own pheno hunt And we took the boys, the ones that we liked, and we saved them off to the side, and we pollinated those plants. So we have over 200 different strains, varieties of those strains to be play around with. And we crossed it with some of the things that we had been working on ourselves.
Very
So
cool.
to be able to go back to the regenerative conference and to be able to hand seeds back to the farmers, like, you gave first, let me give back, grow it out, find something you like, and then send it my way. Like,
For sure.
breed with it, send me the seeds, and we can build this genetic together. And if it's really unique, awesome. Let's get it into stores. Let's do it. We'll help brand regenerative farmers and work with them.
Very cool.
With blackberry lemonade from Eric Miner. She's HBK Genetics. Last year he brought it, and we got it from him, and then we crossed it with Rude Boy, which was crossed with Tangerine Dream. She says, and I was really excited to be able to give that Rude Boy Tangy crossed with his blackberry lemonade to him. What? Chili Verde. Yeah, he hooked us up with Chili Verde this year. It smelled really good. So I'm really excited for it.
That's awesome.
Well, that whole thing last year with the seeds, we were asking people, give us some really good genetics to play around with, and we'll do this to help develop the language behind breeding. Because if you don't really do it, I mean, people do it and it's by accident, but to really do it and to learn hands-on, then we feel more comfortable developing the language. I'm not just going to go make up things that I don't have experience in. And we as a group are the same. She says, hash. Last year we made up that sign with the Frenchie cannoli at the regenerative conference. For us, we were thinking, how would we sign that? How do you sign hash? Like, the meaning behind it, the history. She's like, compression was the first thing that we thought of. She says, and we showed Frenchie it, and he's like, no, that just, it doesn't have the right feel. So, and he started explaining how to do it and how you rub the hash, you put the keef in the palm of your hands, and you work it and you warm it up to your body temperature, and you have a spiritual experience with it, and how they did it historically. And we're just like, there you go. That's the perfect sign for hash. We can have that one hash word for the entire world, India, Japan, wherever it's at, hash, because it's representative. The meaning behind it, you can see it. That contextually found, or contextually solid.
Very cool.
Is there any other words that have been particularly difficult with developing the language?
What? Receptors? She says, I think we got it though. Receptors. It's the neural connection. So that one was hard. That took some time to come up with. The entourage effect. She says, before we were talking about, revolving around the brain, and it just didn't seem right. It's more of a blending together than it is in an effect. She says, we're really trying to take the symbology behind it and then take it to industry leaders and help work that together. Fermentation was a really hard one. She said, how do I sign that? So, okay, breakdown and the bubbles. We have another deaf man that works on the East Coast. He's an indoor grower that does seeds. She says, I love that guy, but he helped us come up with fermentation, extractions to extract, because it's, you bring it through and then you pull it out, and that's a sign for need. So you're doing that with multiple different facets, like taking out terpenes and things. Microbial life, or microorganisms. That one's still, we're working on it, because you're trying to look through a telescope, but at the same time, just like bugs. So it's like, we write it down, we work on it as a group, and then we throw it out to other people in our group. And when it feels right to all of us, then it feels right. If not, we just kind of put it on mute for the time being and work the idea.
I imagine it's important for the people in the deaf community to agree on what feels right, so that it's good to share it and get feedback.
She says, having both of the communities, our deaf community and our cannabis community working together on it. Yes, sometimes it's hard. I mean, not everyone's gonna say yes, they like it. We've shared it with a few people in the deaf community. Our word for cannabis, it outlines your heart. It represents love. It represents compassion. It represents health, quality, like all these words that are represented right over the heart. And people are like, I don't like the word cannabis. I like this. It's like, well, this is not really right to be giving your kid as medicine. It's time to take your medicine, little boy. Like, your kids. That just it doesn't feel right, right?
Yeah.
I know for me it doesn't. So we put a lot of thought into the word. And, we were talking about cannabis, and we started using it. And the more we used it, the more we really liked what it represented. Everybody's like, oh, it should represent spirit. It comes from your heart. Like, outline of the heart. It doesn't matter if you're left hand, right hand, just right here. She says, oh, I've researched cannabis. Cannabis is a plant. So there needs to be it can't be a sign over the heart. It needs to be a sign of a plant. And she's like, but you don't know cannabis. You don't grow cannabis. So it's so much more than just a plant. And try to paint that picture.
Yeah, with just a sign, right? It has to be
well
concise.
When you see, like, when we're talking to those people and they're like, I like this, and it's like, just wait until you see the documentary come out. Because when we ask those people the 3 words, what cannabis, definition is to you, what it means, you'll see exactly why we're just like, no, cannabis right here. Everything that people say, it's all coming out right here.
There you
it's
go.
Perfect. It's perfect.
I like it. I don't think you'll find many people that have grown it that wouldn't agree.
Exactly. Everyone in the cannabis community and people that have been growing, or at least have some experience in the deaf community and the cannabis community, they agree. So I'm sticking with that.
Does Angela have anything else she wants to add as far as her experiences working on the language or working with the cannabis community?
She says, really, it's been an amazing experience. I'm very blessed. Beautiful people, lots of support. A lot of people open their eyes and they open their heart. You go around and you start meeting and hanging out with people, and you start building those relationships and those connections, and it's just really nice. It's a big blessing to be able to see how much love and compassion comes from our community. She says everybody pulling together to make something beautiful happen. It's really a beautiful thing. She says, and I learned a lot too. There's a lot of education, a lot of things that I learn new every day. We're always learning. We never stop.
Well, just let me know when you want to learn about aquaponics. We'll make it happen.
Next year.
Cool.
Actually, I have tanks for it, but we want to work that 60 acres first and get all those trees down and build those rows. And then from the creek, I want the aquaponic system to be staggered up the hill. So
Cool.
This way gravity does its own thing.
Awesome.
So we'll talk. Actually, what are you doing on Tuesday? Come on.
Nothing.
Hey, so a bunch of people are coming out to help me. Some old firefighter buddies, some people that I've known from back working on the ambulance, people that I just grew up with. They're coming out to the farm and bringing chainsaws, and we're going to go hack a bunch of trees down and open up all the roads again. So come on down and check it out. You can see for yourself.
Cool. I'd love to come check it out.
Well, our video man will be there. We're putting in the documentary as well. So show what it looked like before and what it looks like after one day of compassionate people just giving back to the community.
Awesome.
It'll be a big impact.
That sounds great.
Very, very cool. So I don't want to keep it the whole day. Why don't you tell everybody again how to find you, and we'll let you guys roll on with your day.
Well, thank you. Yep. You can check us out on Facebook or Instagram. Homegrown ORX. Yeah. Thank you guys for your time. I really do appreciate it. Check out our pipes. We'll be putting up some better pictures here soon, but I was just all excited when I got these. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta take some pictures. And check them out. Please help, support, join the cause. I promise you it'll be worth it.
We really appreciate what you guys are doing and all the hard work you guys are putting in, because you guys are opening up a whole portal for people to educate themselves through your work.
Over 1 billion people suffer from severe hearing loss or are deaf. So yeah, this is big. It needs to happen, and it's going to take a team of people to make it happen. But it's a need, not a want, and that's what's more important. So, and thank you so much for having us on the show. It's always awesome talking with you guys. Marty, thank you so much for the help. I mean, before, back in the day when you're coming over and helping me put up cameras when I was sick, to having coffee with us and good conversation. Thank you, Steve, for just having an open mind and heart. I mean, you just personify love. I love being around you, man. Love talking with you, and hope to be able to continue this relationship until our last day.
Sounds great. And your kids are adorable.
Yeah, I got some cute midgets. They're pretty
Yeah.
good. Well, the trick is you got to shoot them with a Nerf gun when they're not listening. Yeah. Well,
lot.
enough.
You got to get the
stop
rapid
when they
fire
do what they
ones.
need
You
to
give them
do.
the single shot ones, and then you get the battery powered rapid fire ones. That's how it works.
That's funny because I'd give the single shot to our youngest son, Josiah, he's 2.5. And he gets mad. Yo, you get one shot, but he can't pull it back himself. So there's no point of giving him a big one, because then he'll do it with his teeth and
they'll figure it out.
Man, it's so much fun being a dad. There's a little bit of
great.
creativity, and yeah, he doesn't even get mad when I shoot him. I shoot him in the diaper.
That's hilarious.
He just gives me the look, and then he'll run and go grab his gun. So it's not even a training thing now. You know, it's he wants to do it. Like, he's baiting us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day, and I appreciate you doing this episode in sign. And I think it's really neat, and a lot of people are going to see a lot of these words for the first time about cannabis on this episode. So we're really excited for you to take the time to do this for us.
Vice versa, buddy. Vice versa. So thank you all.
Yep.
Thank you.
God bless, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Cheers. Well, that was awesome. It was really cool to do an episode almost entirely in sign. That was really, really, really cool. And really cool to have them on, and all the awesome work you guys are doing. So thanks again.
Dude, no problem. Thank you guys for having us. Love you guys, man. And be good. Make Africa great again. Dude, you should coin that hat.
Get a nice neon red hat. Or should we make it Rasta colors?
Nah, dude, it's got to be Rasta colors. It's got to represent all of the different tribes, for sure. You can pick a color if you so choose, but those are your 3 choices.
All right. Thanks again.
All right, man. Later.
Peace. What's up with you, Marty? How you been? What's up with your garden?
Let's see. So I don't remember the last time, but I think I was just finishing up getting stuff done in the bedroom. So I've got a couple moms transplanted into there. Some of those genetics I was working on saving, I've gotten clones of. So once I get probably a dozen or so off of them, then I'll probably pull those and replace them with fresh moms. And getting everything reloaded in the flower room. So it's all been cleaned out now. And so I have I'm still waiting on some seeds I might start for one of the beds, because Mr. Green Jeans has a new little project he's been working on, and shout out to him. I know he hasn't been on in a while, but he's been a busy bee. So I'm hoping to pick up some beans from him. He's working on I forget what it was, Critical Kush and something else. I forget now. I'll have to go back and look. Of course, Mr. Green Jeans. If you guys watch the podcast, he sent me on the parents and the lineage and the parents of the parents and the all kinds of information. So it was great. So he's been working on that. He says it's not quite stable yet, but by his standards, it's probably going to be just fine. So I'm going to do a pheno hunt of that and try to get at least 4 different females into this run if I can, but it'll all just kind of depend on timing. But I got a bunch of clones that I already took of the Thorsberry and a couple of other strains that I just had from here. It's was it pineapple and banana frost. So I think weren't you the one who was talking about you really liked banana terpene profiles?
Yeah, banana terps really get me high.
I don't know, and I was thinking it's weird because I was thinking about it after that, and I was like, man, I don't think I've ever tried anything banana. I definitely haven't grown anything banana, but I don't even think I'd smoked anything banana. And then when I went to my buddy, I was like, hey, what strain you got? He's like, oh, I got this pineapple by Banana Cook. I was like, oh, well, or Banana Frost. I think it's Banana Frost. So I'm gonna try that out, see how it goes. So yeah,
Cool.
just cranking away, getting ready to build a pad for the outdoor. So I want to get that done relatively soon. It's still cold as fuck here, so it's a little, and raining a lot. So can't get a lot done outside just yet without being miserable. But want to get that going because spring is fast approaching. So yeah, just a lot to do. Not enough time to do it most of the time. But things are going pretty well. Like I said, the cloner's fully functional, and I'm gonna probably build a couple more. Or right now, I have, I think, 3 separate systems running in the bedroom, and I'll probably reorganize so I can put everything into one larger system, get a bigger tank, and just kind of minimize. But for right now, I have pretty much it. Like if you look at my YouTube channel, you can see older systems that I built. There's one with like 2 55-gallon drums that I hooked together to make a fish tank, and that used to be in my front porch like years ago. And so I set it up again. And so right now it's kind of like my bedroom is sort of like my greatest hits aquaponic systems right now. There's a whole bunch of little ones. So I'll just kind of slowly make everything better and keep everything going. But I've already cranked out a bunch of clones and got them all repotted into dual root zone pots. And so once I finish cleaning everything out, and I'm gonna I don't know if you guys saw in the last video, or I think I talked about it on the podcast a little bit too. I lost one of the supports from underneath my fish tank. I have little like just plywood ties underneath, and one of them pulled out and slid out. So I bought some stuff to fix that. So I'm gonna do that while I have everything cleaned out also. So doing a couple mods on the flower room system today. I'm gonna make the pitch on the grow beds a little bit steeper. Yeah, that's about it. What's up with you, man? Africa, you're the world traveler. What's going on over there?
Yeah, I've been busy getting ready for us to do our final farm rollout here soon, hopefully next week. Every time we think we're there, it's one more week because we're waiting on X, Y, and Z, or waiting on paperwork, or waiting on all the different things. But progress on the farm's going well. We've been working on the soil and just making IMO. Basically just working on getting large batches of IMO going, different IMOs. That's mostly been it. I mean, just making labs and IMO, and then applying it to where we'll be growing for the soil grown stuff right now, and then getting the irrigation in. We're redoing all the irrigation lines. It's quite a bit of work when you're putting in 55 hectares worth of irrigation for phase 1. So we have 300 hectares to play with, but we're going to put in about 54 here in the beginning. Not all at once, but I at the very least need to get the main lines in for that. And we're redoing 2 of the boreholes. So we have fresh wells. We have 1 functional well right now. We're going to bring 2 more online that were left kind of derelict from the old tobacco farm. And just we replaced the electrical in a lot of the buildings that we're going to be setting up for different purposes, and setting up the solar, and just all the not fun part of setting up a commercial farm that's in the middle of nowhere, that only has power between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. reliably on the grid. So, or 8 a.m. I guess reliably on the grid. So we have to provide power for ourselves during the day, but that's okay because you set that up and then you just don't have a power bill with the solar. So it works out well in the long run. It's just kind of a pain in the ass to set up in the beginning, and then we got
Your
our
power
seeds.
bill is all up front.
We got our seeds through, finally got released last week. So that was awesome. First company in Zim to import seeds. So that was really awesome. And then it was really funny because we went to pick them up, and the customs guys, like, they sign, the agricultural guy signs off on it and everything else. And then the customs guys, like when you have like thousands of seeds, especially when they're fresh, it smells like cannabis, right? It smells like bud. So they bring the dogs over because just they wanted to test the dogs. None of the dogs hit on it, and they batted a heart attack and were freaking out about it, which was really funny. But that was good. Just a funny thing. And then today, finally got a chance to go out and see some animals. Went to a game park and drove around and saw a bunch of creatures. So that was cool. Saw lions and a bunch of different snakes and a bunch of different baboons and wildebeest and zebra, very horny zebras and giraffes and all kinds of different creatures, impala and all different kinds of neat shit. So that was cool finally to take a safari day. I've been kind of waiting to do that. So that was cool. And then just, I don't know, trying to teach these guys about different KNF practices so we can get the fields ready in time, and trying to scale some stuff up to scales I haven't played with before, but doing IBC totes of labs and IBC totes of ferments, and doing everything in 55-gallon drums or IBCs with a few exceptions.
So are you making like smaller batches of labs and then like inoculating
Yeah, we're making
larger
5-gallon.
totes?
Yeah, making 5-gallon buckets and then using that to inoculate 55-gallon drums. Basically, is the easy way to do it. And then just trying to source large amounts of milk in the middle of nowhere is also kind of fun. But thankfully, there's a mining town not super far from us that we can get most of the stuff that we need. So not too bad. And then other than that, trying to ID snakes, ran into a new type of an adder that I didn't know that lived there. So that was kind of cool and scary at the same time.
Right.
And then just that's most of it. Just dealing with everything, when you're doing things internationally, nothing goes quite as fast as you wish it would. But yeah, it's coming along slowly but surely. Can't complain. Everyone here is super nice. I really like the people here in Zim. It's a really safe country. We go out at night. I was just, went out last night and had dinner and walked back to the place by myself. It was no problem. It's not a scary place like some of the other parts of Africa can be. I certainly wouldn't do that in Johannesburg. I'll put it that way. But yeah, other than that, just, I don't know, just kind of getting used to it and learning my Shona, and yeah, that's about it really. Oh, and but did want to give a shout out. We're getting a lot more customers. We got a few more cannabis customers this week for the subscription service, the True Nutrient subscription service I do with Roger from True Aquaponics. If you have a commercial aquaponics farm or a large system, or particularly with aquaponic cannabis or other trickier herbs and plants, you can go over to trueaquaponics.com and sign up on the website there. You fill out for the subscription, you fill out your survey, and then you go ahead and we'll sign up. And then what happens is we test your water once a month or twice a month, depending on how you set that up. And then we'll custom formulate a nutrient solution that's fish safe, and we'll rebalance your system. And then you'll have 2 doses. So usually once a week or every other week, you're going to rip open the packet, pour it in, and it'll get your nutrients back to where they should be or extremely close. And then, the next month we'll readjust where it is from there based on what the crops need. And it's all one flat price. So you get the lab testing and the pre-formulated nutrients, all for just one easy price. And you don't have to deal with trying to order a bunch of different nutrients and making sure that your farm manager's dosing properly and all that. We take care of all that. So all they got to do is rip the package open on the date that's on the package, and then away you go. Somebody asked in chat if I'm going to be at any of the regenerative conferences this year. No, I will not. It's 31 hours each way for me to go. So it'll be about 65 hours all said and done for me to go to one of the conferences. So I heard there might be a conference here in Thailand in September or October. I think I got invited to that one. So I think I'll try to make it over to that one, just because I haven't been to Thailand yet. And I thought it'd be really cool to go see Thailand and see the cannabis scene over there. But that's the only plans I think for at least through the end of the year. I'll be back for BizCon and Emerald Cup and all that I'll be back for a couple of weeks, but other than that, I don't think I'm going to be in the States much this year, barring something going catastrophically wrong over here in Africa. But you never know. It's Africa, right? Governments change, and not always on a predictable way. So hopefully we don't have any issues, but you never know. But other than that, I heard there's a weird virus, not corona, in Africa right now. No, not that I'm aware of. Certainly not in Zimbabwe. There was an anthrax outbreak in part of Zimbabwe a couple weeks ago, but that was the craziest thing. But I haven't heard anything about any unknown viruses, certainly not in Zimbabwe. They're pretty good about that stuff here. I know that they're screening everybody for corona at the airport. There's only one confirmed case in Africa right now that I'm aware of, at least in southern Africa, which is in Botswana, which is next door, but it's not really a problem. So, but yeah, other than that, just getting used to the city, getting used to the area I'm working in, and yeah. Mainly just learning what to be afraid of here, because there's lots of things that can kill you.
Yeah, mostly snakes.
Yeah, mostly the snakes. But alrighty, well, I think we'll wrap up the show. Again, if you're interested about the nutrients or you're looking for nutrients for aquaponics, check out trueaquaponics.com and tell them you heard about it on the podcast. And we have a whole bunch of different farms now using the subscription service, and it's really kind of taken off. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of success. We've had some videos on that, and then we'll also have some more information. I'm going to be posting some different stuff I saw over the last year or two about different viruses or insect attacks and some other funky stuff I've seen lately. If you want to find out more about Marty, you can find out him on apmeds.com. I put links in the description for the guests we had earlier, Oregon ORX, homegrownorx.com, or YouTube Homegrown ORX, and Instagram homegrown IN, homegrown, if you want to find out more about them. And, or I'm sorry, homegrown ORX for the Instagram. I don't know why this I linked the wrong one. I apologize. I'll fix that in the link. Anyways, I'm really tired. It's almost midnight and I've been very busy this weekend. So we will wrap the show up. I appreciate everyone that's been following us, and we'll be back again in the next week or two. We have in the queue for guests, we have Tom from Fish Shit. He wasn't able to make it last week. He had a last minute issue. I was having internet issues because I was not where I normally am. I was out traveling. So we just rescheduled the episode. And then we have Crime Pays, but Botany Doesn't, one of my favorite YouTube channels. He'll be joining us. And then we're going to be doing an in-person interview out here with African Plant Hunter. And we have a couple of other cool cannabis people in the queue that I'm super excited about, but we're just working on scheduling. We're going to end up doing some episodes that aren't on Sunday, or we're going to pre-record some, but looking forward to having some other cool stuff going. And we're going to try, once I finally get settled, we'll get back to 2 episodes a week. But for now, Sunday is going to be the easiest as far as scheduling for me to do, just because it's late night for me, and it's a lot easier than getting up at 4 a.m. To do a 4:30 podcast for 6:30 p.m. Pacific time like we used to do. So we'll get this sorted out here before too long. All right, I appreciate everyone watching, and I appreciate Jared again for coming on the show and doing the most of the episode in sign. That was very cool, and I hope to open some new doors for people. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys again next Sunday. Cheers. You can find out me at Ponics or Growing with Fishes podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, and a whole bunch of other podcast locations, and Instagram, all the things. All right, cheers.